Okay, in the last assignment, we had you doing an always sensor so that it would constantly move towards the red Sumo bot and then push it off of the side. This time, you're going to be doing keyboard controls for both players, this making it a multiplayer Sumo bot game. So first thing we're going to do is check our physics. Right now, this is set to static. We want to make sure that that is set to rigid body. Or we could do dynamic so it doesn't rotate. It's up to you. We'll leave the collision bounds as capsule. If it's not capsule, you just need to change it to capsule. Now we need to add some motion to it. So first let's add our sensor, which is our input. We want to do keyboard. So I'm going to do create sensor, select keyboard, and then I'm going to name this forward so that I know what it is doing. The next thing I'm going to do is choose the key. You're just going to click on this blank spot, choose the key by clicking it, and it will add that key to this sensor. So next I'm going to add the actuator. We want to do motion. And because I set this thing to dynamic, or if you have a rigid body, you're going to get the dynamic settings. And we want to add a force to the object. So in this case, to know which direction I'm going to go, I'm going to look up here and I can see that the Sumo bot is on the y-axis and that it's facing in the negative direction, not the positive direction. So I need to put a negative number into the y direction. So if I push W to move forward, it doesn't do anything because I didn't connect these. So make sure that you connect these and put a value in. Push P for play, move it forward, and you can attack. Now if I do rigid body, it'll be able to fall over. Dynamic will not fall over. So it'll roll. Now what you can see happening here is I'm pressing forward, but it's not continually going forward. It's like moving downward. That's because it's facing in its local direction Y. So when it goes down, this thing is going to also add force downward. So we need to turn off the L for local. We need it to be global direction. So we want local turned off. We're going to press P for play. So now when I press W, it will always move forward. You'll need 4 of these for each character, 1 for each direction. So if you want to move left and right, you're going to add another keyboard sensor. Say which direction you're going to go. So we'll go left. And I want A to be the controller for that. And I'm going to need an actuator for motion and connect those. And the A is facing in the x-axis on the positive direction. So I'm going to go positive, and we'll do a smaller number for this one. Let's try 10. Let's see what happens there. So if I push forward and left, it's going to go that way, but we also want to turn off local on that. If you're going to duplicate these, so you can select these and you can press Shift D to duplicate, you need to make sure that we do a second step. If you don't, it's not going to work. So if I were to change something on one of these, so I'll click this checkbox, it turns off the checkbox on the other side. It's because it's not a real duplicate. So I need to click on this little double paper icon here. That makes it a duplicate. And I need to do it on all 3. So now I can go -10. And I can say that this one is right. And I can choose the key D. So now if I move around, I can move left and right and forward. So I also need to do one for back. So select those, Shift D. I need to duplicate these by clicking the paper icon. Now choose S. This one will be backward. And instead of -18, it's going to be +18. Okay. I should have full control over this Sumo. Oh, and I just knocked myself off. Let's do a slower number for backwards. Let's try 10 again on that. Okay, so I can roll backwards. I can go left and right. And you'll need to set that up for both players. And then you can test it out with the person next to you.